Anthony, thank you for jumping in, joining, and talking with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Jason. It's really cool to be here. I don't know if you could hear it in the background just before, but the bell just went off. So it means
Oh,
it's lunchtime at the Kubert School, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we still
nice.
utilize the whole old school bell system. So when the bells go off, they really ring in the school, and that's when you know, hey, first class of the day is over. You can go grab lunch. You get your 5 minute warning bell, and then you get, your class bell as well when you need to be back in there. So, and at the end of the day, it's pretty cool.
I love it. I love that. And love that you're currently at the Kubert School. I was going to ask about the art up on the wall. I didn't know if we were at home in
Yeah.
a space, but very cool. This is the first time I've
No.
been at the Kubert School.
Oh, you got to come out. If you've never been, you should definitely take a trek up. It's really a fantastic place. The building itself is over 100 years old. So we are always working to try to find new ways to maintain or update. And but throughout the entire building, it's almost like a museum in one sense, where there's just tons of beautiful original artwork. Like some of the ones behind me are all by Joe. Those are large poster-sized originals of his that he would
Wow.
do that were actually just like lessons. And then on the flip side of where I'm sitting currently, I have a bunch of Joe art, and there's some stuff by Andy and Adam. And there's, I try to like sneak in one of my things from
Yep.
time to time. I don't like to hang up my own stuff because I think
Yep.
it's like weird. It's a little, people are always like, why'd you hang up your work? And I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's a little strange to hang up your own stuff. I don't
I,
know. And I
I get
really
that.
enjoy admiring it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've created quite expansively. We could spend a whole time just going through the impressive resume. I mean, we've got Green Hornet, Action Comics, Batman Audio Adventures, Batman the Shadow, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
Elvira is in there. Did I mention Elvira?
Pretty much
Ghostbusters.
anything you could think of. It's kind of fun. Like uh I talk with my mom every Tuesday. I give her a call, right? Anybody
Hmm.
watches this, always call your mom.
That's
But
right.
so every Tuesday I talk with my mom on the phone, and she's so funny. She was just talking about that too. She goes, you've gotten to work on everything that you loved when you were a little boy. And it's true. I get to literally just be a professional kid. Like that should be
Hmm.
my real job title. But I mean, I've gotten to draw Ghostbusters, which was my favorite movie as a kid. I absolutely loved Ghostbusters. I still love Ghostbusters. I worked on Back to the Future. I've gotten to draw Batman. I got to do currently working on a Superman story. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's out there, and I got to work in editorial sides of it. And, I mean, just pretty much everything that I've loved doing, I've been able to work on just because I get to I draw pictures, but
Hmm.
more so when you break it down, I've been reflecting about this a lot lately. Is I've been able to do all these things just because I thought I could do it and I went after it. And you got to follow your dreams, not to be all corny about it, but it leads you down some really interesting roads, and you get to experience some really cool stuff if you believe in yourself a little bit.
Love it. Love it. Love that message. And I teach high school currently and have taught middle school and love that message of just stepping out, creating and doing the things you want to do.
You just got to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're going to regret this interview because I talk a lot, Jason.
You are
Okay.
fine. You are fine.
But I mean, even when I was a little kid, I'll never forget it. Like I knew right away I wanted to do comics. I wanted to draw. I wanted to draw comics in particular. It wasn't like I wanted to be a painter. I didn't no, I wanted to draw comic books. I
Hmm.
love
Hmm.
Superman. And so I remember telling my parents that, and I might have been in like fourth grade, fifth grade, and they were like, my dad just was like, why don't you pull out the yellow pages and give them a phone call? And I was like, all right, let's do it. So I remember I literally, if back in the day, I don't know if people even get this anymore. I haven't seen one on my front lawn in quite a while, but we used to get these big old yellow page books,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
and legit Marvel and DC were listed in there. So I just would cold call, and the nice person that would answer the phone would put me through. And at DC, I would talk with, and actually probably bother this poor man. Chris Duffy was I believe he was
Hmm.
the assistant editor at the time on the Superman books. And then at Marvel, they would put me on the line with Jim Kruger. who, went on to write, some really incredible books. He created Foot Soldiers. He works on this other thing, Earth X with Alex Ross, and yeah,
Hmm.
so many cool things. My goodness. But and I got to get to know these people when I was just a kid, just
That's awesome.
bothering them. But they were all super, super nice. And again, you just got to put yourself out there. If you're in high school and you're wondering about it, you know what? Just call,
Yeah.
send an email, just say what's up. Go up to somebody's table at a show at the Beautiful Heroes Con down in North Carolina, right? We were just there
Hmm.
in Charlotte,
Hmm.
and we went out there, had a great time. That was a fantastic show. What a wonderful opportunity for young artists to go out there and interact with creatives and
Yeah.
learn a little something. So put yourself out there.
Totally, totally. I love that, and uh, being so close to Heroes Con and other spaces like that. I've never had a bad experience talking with a creator. I guess that's one
Yeah.
of those things that people talk about, but just never had that happen.
I think if you have a bad experience with a creator, the person's probably really tired, or
Yeah,
they're rushing to get, commissions done. You do your best. I think nobody, I can't imagine somebody just wanting to be a jerk to people.
right.
Even if that person says that they want to be a jerk to someone, you really got to go out of your way. You know what I
True.
mean? Like, it takes so much effort to be a jerk to someone. Um, but sometimes you'll be working and you'll be trying to get your commissions done, and you're under the clock, or maybe this person's leaving at 1 o'clock, and now you're trying to force it in, and so you might be a little bit shorter than you might want to be.
Hmm.
But I don't. Like I said, I think everybody's pretty cool, but especially if you're going to a show, you're surrounded with like-minded individuals. You're all there for very similar reasons. You should, keyword should,
Right.
be having a great time, and just being able to talk about art and comics and pop culture and all the things that you absolutely love. So get out there and talk with folks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I have a question since we are at the Kubert School, which is
Yeah.
a teacher-related question. Uh, I imagine as an artist and a teacher, that's a great growing opportunity. I'm wondering how that has kind of married together for you.
Well, there's a bunch of different things that come out of it. It's really, I almost want to call it like rejuvenating in the sense, where you
Hmm.
come on, because a lot of times, as an artist, you're working at home or you're working in your studio space, and it can be very, I don't want to say lonely, but yeah, it gets lonely at times. You're locked away and you're working long hours. It's a little bit stressful. But then to be around all these young artists, right? And they all want to get to this point where they're seeing their work published and they're doing these different things and they're so excited about it. They get so excited about things that you forget about being so excited about at one
Hmm.
point.
Hmm.
And I'm not even saying because you start doing so much work or what, but it just due to the passage of time, you kind of forget about these things and you take it for granted. And then when you see the students getting so excited by it and having a great time, it's almost a reminder to you, like, wow, I get to do this for
Yeah.
real. And it's really, really cool. It's so much fun. And you work with the students and they teach you stuff too. You learn from them.
Hmm.
They keep
Hmm.
you up to date with what's going on in the books as well. Sometimes, if you're not reading everything, or if there's a new artist that they really love, or a new show that I'm not watching because I'm watching The Revenant or something like that instead, and they'll talk about it, and you go and check it out, and you're like, that's awesome. And you come in and you have a really fun conversation with them the next day. But then even on top of that, you have all the instructors, and we have some really legendary instructors at the school. And you get to just hang out and talk, and you talk about art, and you share what you're working on and what they're working on, and you go back and forth. We exchange notes. It's a really awesome community. That's what it really is. It's not just a school, it's a really great community of like-minded individuals that are having a great time and working hard. So it's great.
Love it, love it. Yeah. Uh, I always like to ask about creative processes. So, are you a ritual person? Are there particular things that you do that kind of get you in the creative space? Or is it just let's sit down and let's do this?
I wish I was faster, let me put it that way. But um, you know, I'm cutting myself a little bit of slack here, Lee. I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm not gonna lie, Jason. But you know, so my wife and I run the school, so we're constantly working, here. And then we have the art store. We have a comic shop.
Hmm.
We teach classes there as well. We have a little studio that produces a bunch of stuff for our students to do work. And, I have two kiddos and, a real life and this and that. So, and then, drawing on top of it all. And I try to be as ritualistic as I can, but most of the time it's just, hey, you got to get the work done or you're going to get in trouble. Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, for example, like next week, kind of touching on some of the previous things we talked about before, talking about how because I listened to my little heart as a kid and kept on going for it. I got invited to go out to Australia next week.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I get to, like, I don't know, maybe people get to go to Australia every week. Somebody's going to watch us and be like, I go there every, like, 2 weeks. It's not a big deal. But you know what? For me, it's a big deal. And I get to go there because I draw. So right now, I'm feeling a little bit of a crunch because I got to get some stuff done this week. And so instead of, just being like, all right, well, when I get up and this and that, and I'll do my work. No, I wake up every day, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Today I got up at 3:30. So this way I could start working extra early.
Hmm.
And then, I have my coffee, I get the kids ready, I bring them to school normally. Then I head over to the Kubert School, I sit down, I go over all my notes, make sure everything's taken care of that needs to be taken care of, answer all my emails, try to jump into any meetings a little bit earlier. So like exactly what time we're doing right now, we try to get it done.
Hmm.
And then after that, I'll start to swing it back over into the art side of it, play catch up with anything that I need to do there, try to get as much done as possible. Then there's more meetings and phone calls in the afternoon as well. Then you go home, dinner, you got to get that going.
Right.
Hang out time with the family, have a good time. I love to play with my kids. They're both really awesome individuals. My wife's fantastic, so I love spending time with her. We try to go to the gym for a little bit, and then we come back and then maybe sneak in a little bit more drawing time.
Yeah.
And then guess what? It's time to take a shower and go to bed. So, rinse and repeat for the next day. But it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, so there's a little bit of ritual every day. Definitely got to keep it going.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Well, and I like how you speak to that as someone with a family, someone with kids, someone with a life,
Yeah.
because that's all important as well.
Well, you gotta like, I was just talking about this recently with people where it's um the drawing aspect. I would be drawing no matter what. I love drawing. It's always been something I've been doing. It brings me a lot of joy. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. My mom loves telling stories. Pretty much as soon as I could put a crayon in my hand, I started drawing and playing with it. I probably ate a few crayons as well, but that's all right. It's just, but I love doing it. So one way or another, I would be doing it, and it doesn't define me though overall. Like at the end of the day, my my key, my whole part of my life is my family. So they come number one. For me, and then everything kind of comes after that. But if I had to stop, you know, I guess drawing,
Hmm.
I would find a way to still do it, but I would be completely, devoted to the family always. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Also appreciating how you were talking about getting to work on the things that you enjoyed as a young person. Are there particular creative steps, a creative vision that you'd like to take?
I've been really lucky. Um, Pretty much anything, even like, okay, so for example, let's just talk about Batman audio adventures as an example.
I'll hold
Um,
up the issue that you signed if that's okay.
so
With your
that okay,
signature.
so that's a really fun book right there. That was actually
Hmm.
like they did an anthology prior to the series coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But before all of that, it was the audio adventures that showed up on HBO. And I remember I was driving home and I got this email and the subject line was interested in work. That was the subject. And I was like, is somebody asking me for a job? Like they want me to hire them? Like what does this mean? It was very unsure. And then I opened it up and I read the email and it was a really cool job offer. And it was basically to do designs of the Batman cast for this audio show. I know. So
Hmm.
you're probably thinking it's an audio show. Why would you need designs? Well, they wound up taking those designs and turning it into the key art for all of the things on HBO Max for the show. But I was able to literally make the characters look the way that I wanted the characters to look.
That's awesome.
So you're like, well, how much Batman looks like Batman and Robin looks like Robin? I'm like, yeah, but like I really like Dick Grayson Robin with like, the gloves and the little shorts kind of running around. I just think it's cool. And Batman, I will say that's the only thing. I did want him to have the yellow oval, but
Hmm.
that was the one spot there like you can't do it. And I love the pellets on the belt, so he's got the pellets on the belt, and Penguin, they actually told me I had to thin him up a little bit. I made him too big at one point, which
Oh,
was really
funny.
funny. But it's all my versions of the characters. And then working with a writer like Dennis McNicholas, who wrote that and also wrote the show and directed it. Um, he was an awesome collaborator because he gave a lot of freedom to kind of go in there and do what I wanted. Same thing with like Green Hornet. When I worked on that, I had a lot of freedom there. Or uh, even the Ghostbuster stuff. There was no real animated, realistic looking version of Ghostbusters. So when I got a chance to go in there and kind of do it, I was able to do it in my own style and have a good time. Or even with the Superman story I'm working on right now, it's you know, okay, I got a story for it, but I was kind of able to go through and maneuver certain things and draw it in the way that I do. And there's a lot of freedom there, probably more than I think people think that there would be. I remember that was a big concern of mine when I was uh, considering doing this as a profession, even prior to going to the school. Was well, how much am I going to be told exactly what it has to be? And you know what? Comics are an awesome collaborative effort, if you want to put it that way. And there's a lot of giving in it. And for anybody that's concerned about that aspect of it, don't be. You can have a lot of fun and really create some cool things.
Cool, cool. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask about what's currently on the drawing table. So we have Superman. Anything else
Yeah.
that you'd like to mention?
I mean, Superman's perfect for me.
Yeah, yeah. What more
I'm
do you
doing
need other than Kal-El?
there are some I don't know if it's been announced yet or not, but I'm doing Space Ghost covers as well, which is really
Yeah,
fun. That's been really cool to do. We're kicking around some Out of Heroes, really cool project came about. We were kicking around with a certain individual. I don't want to say anything yet because I don't want to jinx it,
sure,
but it
sure.
was a really great project, and that should be really fun. And we have some meetings lined up later this month, and we'll see what comes from that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I already have Space Ghost issue 3 pre-ordered. It comes out at midnight tonight. I will probably be up reading that tonight, just to be honest. I've really
It's a
enjoyed
really
that.
great series. Dynamite is doing a great job. I know a lot of the folks there. I was in editorial at Dynamite for a number of years as well, and I love keeping up to date just in general with what the industry is doing and what
Yeah,
they're putting out and what the companies are doing. Um, I'm like a sponge, man. I just try to soak up everything that everybody does and see what the different creative teams are and um, just pay attention. I think
yeah.
also for any young artists or people that are getting into this, remember that it's a business, right? So conduct
Mhm.
yourself professionally as a professional and pay attention to what's going on. Really read everything, know what's going on in the industry. I'm not talking about just reading the comics. I'm talking about like read the big picture of it all, see what the companies are doing, see what the trends are, see what you could do to make sure that your book can stand out a little bit more, or what you need to do to make sure that you're taking that next step in your career. So
Love
That's
it.
all I'll say
Love it.
about that.
Yeah. I think that brings us to the final question. I know you have work to do and things to do, so I won't keep you beyond that. But I always like to give people the space to talk about where they engage with fans. We've already mentioned Heroes Con, but any other appearances, as well as the web links, the social media things, all of that sort of stuff.
Sure. So if you want to meet this bald man in
He
person,
he's great in person, folks. He's great in person.
swing on by. I'll be at let's see. So if you're in Australia, if that guy that goes every 2 weeks or whatever, swing on by. I'll be there at the Melbourne Metro Comic Con next week, which is crazy. Then I'll be in Fan Expo Chicago. Then I'll be in Fan Expo Canada in August. Those are both in August. Then we have New York Comic Con coming up in October, and I'll be there. And then if you
Nice.
want to just shoot me a message or you want to say hey or check out some artwork, you can find me on Instagram at Anthony Marques Art. So pretty straightforward, easy to find. Or if you want to learn more about the Joe Kubert School, you can go to kubertschool.edu and be sure to learn more about some of the great programs that we have available.
Fantastic, fantastic. Anthony, thank you so much for the time. I'm glad to
That
have
was
you
great,
back
Jason.
anytime and I hope to meet again at a convention sometime soon.
Sounds good. I really appreciate it. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.